Qwen4 is coming, and we already know its architecture. Okay, this came out of nowhere. Qwen4 is coming. And this is not just another random leak, or somebody guessing the next model name. Alibaba's own ModelScope account has now openly mentioned Qwen4, and even more interestingly, we are about to get our first model using the new Qwen4 architecture. The model is called Qwen3.8 Flash Next, and it is scheduled to release on August 26th. Now the name makes this sound like just another Qwen3.8 model. It isn't. The official Hugging Face page literally describes it as a preview of the Qwen4 architecture. And ModelScope says that the next generation architecture powering Qwen4 is now here. So basically, Alibaba is giving us a Qwen4 architecture preview before the actual Qwen4 family launches. And there's another piece of news here that a lot of local AI users have been waiting for. Qwen3.8 is finally getting an MoE model. But this isn't just another Qwen3.6 style 35B model. The information originally shown on the ModelScope page described Qwen3.8 Flash Next as a massive multimodal mixture of experts model with 125 billion main parameters. But only around 6 billion parameters are activated for each token. And then things get even stranger. On top of those 125 billion parameters, the early description mentioned another 51 billion parameters dedicated to n-gram embeddings. That potentially puts the entire parameter storage far above what you would normally expect from something called a flash model. But computationally, it is a completely different story. Because within MoE architecture, the entire 125 billion parameter network isn't being used for every token. Only a small portion of it is active. That means Qwen could potentially give us the knowledge and capacity of a very large model while keeping the actual compute requirement much closer to a much smaller model. And the n-gram part is especially interesting. Instead of forcing the neural network to repeatedly reconstruct common token patterns, an n-gram embedding system can essentially provide a large learned lookup memory for frequently occurring patterns. Think of it almost like giving the model a gigantic fast-access memory alongside the neural network. That could allow the active experts to spend more of their compute on reasoning, coding, and more difficult tasks. And this may also become very interesting for local AI. The model will still require a large amount of RAM or VRM just to store all of those weights. So don't interpret 6B active as meaning this is a normal 6B model that fits on any GPU. It absolutely isn't. But sparse MoE models can be dramatically faster to generate than dense models of the same total size. And if those huge n-gram embedding tables can eventually be efficiently placed in system RAM while the frequently used computational layers stay on the GPU, this architecture could become extremely interesting for machines with lots of RAM but limited VRM. We need the actual model and inference implementations before we know how well that works in practice. But that's clearly one of the things I'm going to test. There's even more happening under the hood. The early information from ModelScope described architectural changes across attention, residual connections, embeddings, and optimization. So Qwen4 doesn't appear to simply be Qwen3.8 with more experts. They're changing fundamental parts of the architecture. And Alibaba claims that this design significantly reduces both training and inference cost while remaining competitive with its much larger Qwen models, with particularly strong focus on coding and cowork-style agent tasks. And there's a very important historical reason why I'm taking this release seriously. We've seen Qwen do almost exactly this before. Before Qwen3.5 arrived, Alibaba released Qwen3 Next. Qwen3 Next introduced major architectural changes like hybrid-gated delta-net attention, extremely sparse MoE routing, and multi-token prediction. Then those architectural ideas became the foundation of the later Qwen3.5 and Qwen3.6 generations. And now they're doing it again. Except this time the model is called Qwen3.8 Flash Next, and Qwen explicitly says that it is built on the next generation Qwen4 architecture. They've even said that these architectural changes are being released early so that the open source community can prepare for the upcoming full family of Qwen4 models. That last part is important. Not just one Qwen4 model. A Qwen4 family. We still don't know what sizes that family will contain. There's no confirmed Qwen4 4B, 9B, 30B, 70B or giant flagship model yet. We don't know the final context lengths. We don't know what will be dense and what will be MoE. And we definitely don't have reliable Qwen4 benchmarks yet. So I am not going to make numbers up. But Qwen4 itself is no longer just speculation. Qwen is publicly talking about it. And tomorrow we should get something even better than a leak. The first open-weight model built using its architecture. Qwen3.8 Flash next. 125 billion main parameters. Only around 6 billion active. Another massive N-gram memory system. Multimodal. A new MoE design. And underneath all of it, Qwen4. If this really is Qwen's equivalent of what Qwen3 Next was before Qwen3.5, then tomorrow's release may be much more important than the name. Qwen3.8 Flash makes it sound. Because we may be looking at the architecture that powers the entire next generation of Qwen models. And once the weights drop, I'm definitely testing this thing locally. That's it for the video. If it helped, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.